It's Gina Goff. That's Ginagoff.
And what is your title? What do you go by?
I'm a film producer with Goff Productions.
Okay, and can you tell me a little bit about Golf Productions?
Well, Goff Productions is an independent film production company located in West Hollywood, California. And, we've been in business for many, many years. I've been producing movies for over 20 years. And, we just look to really find really interesting stories to tell. We do all different kinds of genres, comedies. We just did a scary movie project called The Movers with Terrence Howard, Jenna Malone, Tom Everett Scott, and Christopher Lloyd. So that was really fun. And then our next one will be the drama movie here called At Niangua's End, which will all be shot at the Lake of the Ozarks. So we like to do a variety of types of projects. I've done a lot of romantic comedies. I've produced a lot of those because it's just personally something that I love. But I'm kind of all over the map with the types of projects that I take on.
Yeah, and how did you come across this project here in the Lake of the Ozarks?
Well, this is an interesting story because I'm Facebook friends with Rebecca Rodeman. She knew of Bowen Chase and that they had this short film that they were, sending links to people and all of that. So she did kind of a Facebook introduction to them and said, "Hey, Gina, you should check out their link for the short film." And so I thought, yeah, why not? And I clicked on it and I ended up watching their short film and I was so impressed with the work that they did and the acting performances and the storytelling and the photography in it, the cinematography was beautiful and it really showed the real lake, which is nice to see for a change. And I was just really kind of blown away by them. So I just sent them a nice little note that, said, "Hey, congrats guys, you did really awesome work. I'm so impressed." And then they reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you be up for a Zoom call?" And anyway, we got on a Zoom call and they said the goal was really to make the feature film. And I asked them if they had a script and they said yes, and kind of the rest is history. And it's crazy too because I was kind of holding here in Missouri waiting to go down to shoot The Movers in Mississippi. And so I optioned their project and literally a week or two later, the Missouri tax incentive stuff passed. So that was a really crazy coincidence because I was trying to think before that, like, how am I going to pull this off? Because you really need, the extra money to do these and to make it, commercially viable and all of that. So anyway, then the tax incentives passed and I was like, wow, this is really meant to be. And so here I am.
Yeah.
Just kicking this off.
No, that is really good timing. Could you just tell me a little bit about that incentive that the state is doing?
Yeah, I don't have all of the details of it, but it'll be somewhere between a 20 to 25% rebate on the money that's spent in the state. And they call them tax incentives. And depending on how the state does it, I mean, if you shoot in Missouri, at least half of the movie, which I'll be shooting the whole thing here, and then you hire X amount of Missouri-based crew and cast and, and spend X amount of dollars with local vendors and all of that, which that's all going to be happening, then, they definitely audit your books at the end and then make sure that you really spent the money and then you get a rebate back from the state.
Okay, gotcha. And could you kind of talk to me about the process of making the film, like kind of the timeline and the steps toward making it?
Making this particular film?
Yeah.
Or just, well, we're kind of in pre-production, I guess you could say. I'm reaching out to a lot of local business people right now, vendors, potential sponsors, potential investors, potential extras and cast, and really just I'm trying to involve the community as much as I can, all while, I'm looking to get all of the financing together so we can pull this off this fall.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty optimistic about some of the meetings I've had so far.
No, that's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Could you just kind of talk to me also about being from Missouri, and you had made a comment about showing the real lake, and I feel like when I talk to people not from Missouri, they're like, oh, the show Ozark, and I'm
I know.
like, no, not really like the show
No,
Ozark.
not really at all. That would be Altoona, Georgia, Altoona Lake in Georgia, not Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri, that I know and love. So, yeah, I mean, I'm from Jefferson City, Missouri. I grew up in Jefferson City and spent tons of time at the lake. I had two grandparents with lake places, so I was very lucky. And, I was water skiing by the time I was like 4 or 5 years old and really enjoyed the lake. And, it's turned into this really magical, beautiful place that's really, because the film incentives haven't been here for so long, it's kind of missed out on opportunities to really showcase what a beautiful place it really is. And I think, when you talk to people, like it sounds like you have as well, and you say, oh yeah, I'm spending time at the Lake of the Ozarks, and they're like, oh, you mean with all those hillbillies? Or and it's like, it's not really like that at all. I mean, I'm sure you could find some areas where you might find someone like that, but for the most part, it's a pretty normal place, and there's actually a lot of wealth here as well. And, when you figure that the average size boat now is what, like a 35, 38, foot boat, I mean, that's not cheap, and you have to have money, to build these beautiful lake homes that are on the lake now. I mean, we want to showcase all of this, all of it in our movie. So I look forward to really showing the real Missouri and not what people think because they watched Ozark that the place is really like that, because it's not.
Yeah, I'm also really looking forward to it, just as someone that grew up here. I feel like Missouri is very nuanced, and people from outside of the state don't understand that. It's not, like you said, a bunch of hillbillies running. It's not a flyover state.
It's a beautiful state.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty. It's clean. I mean, having spent the last, almost 30 years in LA, although I've certainly been back here a lot visiting family and friends and hanging out, I mean, it's so much safer than other places, including LA and California. I mean, it's a really wonderful place, and I think, it's going to be really fun to really show that. And we're going to kick it off with getting some B-roll footage at the Captain Ron's boat racing event. So we're going to really kick it off with showing, what's really here. Like, these boat racing, competitions are here, and, there's so many other really cool events.
No, that's awesome.
So I'm going to pick all of that up in the footage.
No, that's cool. How long do you think you'll film? Or, on average for you, how long do you spend filming?
Well, the actual principal photography filming part is usually somewhere between 4 and 5 weeks. This one I would imagine we'll probably do in 4. But we'll start pre-production in a perfect world probably around September the 1st. And by the end of September, early October, we'll be in principal photography on the movie.
Okay, gotcha. I just have a couple more questions. Could you just talk to me about the event tonight and kind of how this is maybe jump-starting it for the public, kind of like this first look at what you guys are doing?
Well, the event tonight is really cool. For me, it's a little bit of a full circle moment because a couple of years ago I had a movie coming out during the pandemic, actually called Senior Moment, starring William Shatner, Gene Smart, and Christopher Lloyd. And I was promoting the movie, and because California was closed down, I learned through the distributor that picked my movie up that they were going to be, because it did get a limited theatrical release, they were going to be showing it at the Capitol Theater in Jefferson City. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm going to leave California and fly back to Jefferson City, Missouri, and round up my cousins, and we're going to go see my movie in a theater, and then we'll probably go to Eris Pizza or something. And so it's going to be like this really chill, sweatpants, t-shirts, kind of, just family time out. And then it turned into this really big event. And all of a sudden, all the press came out, and all the premiere of Senior Moment, and I was really surprised, but also just super flattered by the support and the love and the people that came out to see the movie. And I did a Q&A after the first screening of that Friday night show, And I mean, I saw old neighbors that I grew up with, school teachers, some of my band geek friends, my fellow trumpet players, and, just all of these people that I hadn't seen in years. The mayor came out and deemed that it was Senior Moment Day on that date, and just the whole town was so supportive. And then they threw a party for me at the Prison Brews, and it was just really nice. So, anyway, cut to Low Profile magazine. They were going to interview me and just put a little piece in their magazine about the movie and do a little article on me, and it turned out to be like a cover story. So they put me on the cover of the magazine, which again I was really shocked and surprised and happy and all of that. And so they helped me promote the movie in that way. And then that was a couple of years ago, and then here we are, Missy Pinkle, who is the owner of the Low Profile magazine, and Rebecca Rodeman, who helped me promote and get all of that press for Senior Moment. They're kind of teaming up and helping me with this movie. So it is a full circle moment. And it's also not only a magazine launch party, it's the kickoff of the passing of the Missouri film tax incentives. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot going on tonight.
Lots going on.
Yeah, and that's awesome how you were talking about Jeff City and kind of it being a full circle moment, because I've definitely eaten at that pizza joint before and the Prison Brews, and it's just like crazy where life can take you, but also bring you back.
I know. Well, and if it hadn't been for the pandemic, we would have probably had, the movie play someplace in LA, and we would have probably had the red carpet event there with William Shatner and Gene Smart and everybody, and we didn't get to do that because of the pandemic, but it actually turned into something really so much more gratifying for me to get to come home and celebrate with, the people that I grew up with in my family and friends. So it was really a special time.
Yeah. What is it like working with people like William Shatner?
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's never a dull moment. Working with actors that are intense and on a mission and 90 plus years old now, but vibrant and living this really full life, and then actors like Christopher Lloyd, who's just a total sweetheart, and you just want to hang out, and he's like the neighbor next door that you're going to have the beer or the coffee with or whatever, and just talk about nothing. He's so chill and so sweet and wonderful. It's actually fun, getting to meet different people, and they always say, well, be careful, be careful who you idolize and then who you end up meeting in person. But I've had great experiences. I mean, I got to meet and work with Dom DeLuise many years ago before he passed away, and he was a wonderful, wonderful person. So I've been really lucky with the people that I've been able to